Hello, it's me again. I just wanted to thank everybody for 2.9 thousand subscribers. In fact, not to toot my own horn, but I think possibly by the time I upload this, I might be closer to 3,000 subscribers. So thank you so much. Really, really, really thank you so much. Everybody has been super welcoming, which is... I said it in my last video, but this is the very first time in my life that I've been in a space where the people around me also like From Software, because nobody in my social circle ever has. But yeah, really, really thank you all so much. I really, really appreciate it. And I hope you guys enjoy this totally improvised, unscripted video. And a quick disclaimer about that, I ramble a lot. So this video is unscripted and you will be able to tell very quickly because I try to justify my own manner of speech about everything. But yeah, aside from that, thank you all so much for 2.9. Really, really thankful and enjoy the video. It's me. This video is really impromptu. Basically, I was in the middle of writing this script for the video that was meant to come out today. But as I write my script, I like to make a mental note of what B-roll I'm gonna need for videos. And for the B-roll I needed for that video, I just thought using a debugging menu would make the B-roll look a bit cleaner, a bit more nice. Because with the debugging menu comes with this free cam that you can take, you know, as close or as far away as possible. So that's why I installed it. But in doing so, I actually installed the model viewer alongside it because From Software actually removed the model viewer from the debugging menu for whatever reason. I don't know. But you can reinstall it because it's just as simple as installing one single file. I'll link the debugging menu and the model viewer in the description, and I'll also try and credit any other relevant creators. But this menu is, you know, a debugging menu. You can change all kinds of things. There's lots and lots of things in here. A lot of things that I don't understand at all. But if you are interested, if you go to game and you go to character instructions and then character debug, this is effectively a cheat menu. Player no dead means you can't die. Player exterminate, I'm not sure what it does because it doesn't kill me when I activate it. So maybe it's a one-hit kill thing. But I'm using a Black Knight halberd. I'm gonna one-shot everything anyway. All no dead means nothing can die, no matter how much damage you do to it, yourself included. All no damage means everything does no damage. I'll show you. I'm not taking any kind of damage whatsoever. All no hit means I can't be hit, like attacks will just go straight through me. All no attack means enemy AI just straight up won't attack you at all. They're just looking at me aimlessly. All no move stops them from moving, so if I turn off all this other stuff and then I run away from them, they can't actually chase me. It freezes their AI in place. No update AI, I'm not sure what that does. No stamina consumption is pretty simple. Rolls, fat rolling, light rolling, nothing consumes stamina. Weapon usage. No MP can consume. I'm not sure what no MP consume implies, but we know that MP is mana, but there's not a mana system. You know what? Let's get away from these. Holy fuck, let's get away from these guys. No MP consume. I guess there was originally an intended mana consumption system, but they removed it, so this would stop your mana from being consumed. No arrow consume just stops your bow from using up arrows. Very, very simple. Think of that Minecraft enchantment. What is it? Infinity? It's basically infinity enchantment. No magic quantity consume. I'm not actually sure, but I think it's to do with spells like Soul Arrow soul spear, because obviously magic has finite usage, not usage. So I think this just prevents the spells from being used up. This stuff that is mostly in Japanese I haven't touched because I just don't really know. But basically, if you want to use the debugging menu, this is effectively the only thing you really need to worry about. If you're not planning on heavily modding the game, or I don't know, changing the way that boss AI functions, this is pretty much the only menu that you need. So game, character instructions, debug instructions, character debug, sorry. And then this is a cheat menu, basically is what it is, a cheat menu. And if you're thinking, wow, I can cheat online now because this menu's built into the game, no, you will absolutely be nuked from the online servers, I promise you. So if you do install the debugging menu, this is what will happen when you launch the game. It will show you this menu here. A very quick walkthrough. Model viewer is pretty self-explanatory. The 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 don't work, or they either don't work or they will crash your game. I haven't had a reason to test them, but I might be wrong on that, but I'm pretty sure 1 through 5 just straight up doesn't work. 6 is network. I kind of looked into it a little bit. From what I can understand, it's multiplayer through LAN connection, so direct. I don't know how to explain it. It wouldn't have been it wouldn't be summoning. It would be like direct connection, basically. But obviously this doesn't work anymore. This is way out of service, and you don't need it because there's a summoning system, password-based summoning system, if you wanted to play with someone. And also seamless co-op for Dark Souls Remastered just dropped, so there's that too. FRPG net test, no clue. Face gen is character creation, but yeah, face gen is face generation, aka character creation. Title list, no idea. If you just want to play the game, you use option 10, boots you up into the game as normal, with the debugging menu available by pressing the select key, the select button, not key, should I say, on your controller. By the way, you do need a controller to use this menu. It won't work with mouse and keyboard. I probably should have said that way earlier. Title provisional is the copy of the game that was displayed at events like PAX, E3, was given to journalists also. This version of the game boots you into Undead Burg with a predetermined character. I don't think it doesn't work when I press A, nothing happens, but that is what that was. It would have booted up the journalist copy of the game. This is the model viewer here. 292 pages of a whole bunch of stuff to look at. I went through about, I would say, 200 of the pages, and for the most part everything is as it should be, but there's a handful of pages with some really interesting stuff on it. So this is a really simple model viewer. It just allows you to look at models. A very quick disclaimer, I'm not claiming that I discovered any of this for the first time, because that's just not true. This debugging thing has been around for like literal years, over a decade if you will. But there was actually some stuff in here that I never knew about. I knew about some things, such as the cut bear armor and stuff, but there was some stuff that I was like, what? Kind of blew my mind, because I didn't know about any of it. So that's why I'm sharing it. You know, it's a cool thing, and it's nice to share cool things. But the first thing of note to share is Marvelous Chester's alternative design. And what a cool design he has. I kind of prefer this over the classic one that we know from the DLC. But what's interesting is that he is animated too, same as Chester is, but instead of using a crossbow, this version of Chester uses a black Zweihander, which is not available in the game. You cannot obtain it through legal means, and I'm not even sure you can obtain it through illegal means either. But if you are curious, this Zweihander is in Sif's boss arena. It's next to Artorias' grave. I think it's one of the ones around the center of the grave. Obviously you can get the Zweihander, but this specific black Zweihander is not obtainable. But yeah, I kind of really prefer this version of Chester. I don't know. There's just something about Chester's design that is very, very cool to me anyway. But this version of Chester is a bit more sinister. Like, there's something off about Chester anyway, and then obviously he goes on to invade you. But I feel like if you met this version of Chester as a merchant, you would probably be like, what is going on? This guy is not worth it. His animations are rigged, partly because he's Chester, but also I like to believe this was the first rendition of Chester, but they decided against it and they put that the old classic. So this is the version of Chester that we meet in the game. The red rose and this jacket that kind of hides his straight jacket-esque appearance, and also the very, very nifty top hat, and there's obviously the crossbow that he uses. So we know Chester to use like kind of melee, like he kicks and he uses the crossbow, but this version of Chester is more, he doesn't do much kicking. Instead, he's very, very involved with the Zweihander. But also this animation interested me a lot. I can't work out if this is a gesture that he's doing or it's a grab attack, like a Melania Scarlet Rot special or something. Just because this first half looks like a gesture, but then that second half is not looking like a gesture to me. I mean, Chester's sinister anyway, but this version of Chester is a lot more... I don't know. I definitely probably wouldn't use Chester as a merchant if I saw him like this next to Artorias' Fog Gate, you know what I mean? So maybe the final design is for the better. I don't know how I feel about the loss of... Or not the loss of... I don't know how I feel about them giving him a hat. I kind of like this... I kind of like the mask as it is, you know what I mean? I keep saying it, but Chester's design is just so good. Such a cool design. I always found it a bit weird that he used a crossbow. Is that weird to say? I'd always thought it was a bit weird that Chester was a crossbow wielding tyrant and not a melee guy. So really quick, here is the alternative. So for whatever reason, Chester has a whole bunch of alternative designs in the Lore Viewer, and this is one of them. It's exactly the same, but they added a brown and black color scheme instead of that black and white one. Literally exactly the same thing, but this version of Chester is bronze and black, I suppose. The next cool thing I found is this. This is Child Beatrice. And yes, the Black Witch Beatrice that we can summon in the game. This is that same Beatrice, but in childlike form. I absolutely love this. This is the first time I'm ever hearing about a childlike Beatrice. And better yet, like, look at this design. It's just so cool. And when I first came across this, I got like Wizard 101 vibes. Is that just me? It's very, very Wizard 101-y. But what's so interesting is that we already know so little about Beatrice to begin with, but this child version of Beatrice implies that maybe perhaps she would have been a bigger part, and her animations give very much like NPC summon. Perhaps she would have been summonable in the DLC, for example, against Artorias, maybe. I'm not sure she would... Well, actually, she is summonable for the Four Kings, so perhaps she might have been summonable for Manus. I have no idea. But yeah, I definitely, just from the animations, I can't see her being hostile. She's giving very much, I'm trying to help you the best I can with my magic. But what I really, really got interested in is this wand that she has. And as far as I'm aware, she is the only mage, wizardess, sorcerer, whatever you want to call her, the only one in From Software history to have a wand. Because she has a catalyst, obviously, and this one you can get in the game from the Witches set. But this wand is, as far as I'm aware, I could possibly be wrong, but as far as I'm aware, she is the only one of her wizarding kind to wield such a thing. Because even in the animations, she prioritizes the catalyst. It doesn't really seem like the wand does anything. But aside from the curiosity of her going to Hogwarts, she also... I mean, just this design overall is very, very intriguing. There's blood, like, all across the hem of her dress, and also this cape. The cape of her hat? I don't really know what this is, but the cool thing is that you can see the Zully influences. So Zully the Witch is a kind of a background character in Dark Souls 2 and more predominantly Dark Souls 3. And you can see through the color scheming and the hat even, and the way that the dress is formed, the Zully influences. And it kind of makes you think maybe Beatrice is Zully's mother or something of the like, you know what I mean? That's why this model view is so cool, just because you can get a better look at the things that you never really look at to begin with. And also discover new things like child Beatrice, who, by the way, seems to have a demonish appearance. She's definitely not of the human persuasion, or if she is, she's definitely malformed in some way. I can't really get I'm terrible with this debugging camera, but she's just got like black voids for eyes. And this line that goes down her face, I'm not sure if it's intentional or not. It might just be a model thing. But also her skin is very pink, I notice. I get Batwing demon vibes from her, so possibly she was of the demon persuasion. But overall, very, very cool design. I really, really love child Beatrice's design, and it's a shame that well, I personally don't know much about Beatrice. I've never really divested myself into Beatrice's lore, but if anybody does have any in-depth lore on Beatrice, please tell me. After seeing this model in the viewer, I just am so much more interested in Beatrice than I was previously. This is the next model I came across. Absolutely a Blighttown model. A Blighttown enemy, should I say. One, because of the crag spider appearance, and two, because of this the redness of the design. I can only assume it's like charred skin. So as I understand it, the crag spider, it's an evolutionary process. You know, hollow to hollow, crag man to crag spider. This thing is animated with sounds. So definitely got cut fairly late into development, I guess, from how well this thing is animated, and also the fact that it is fully sound affected. I'm not sure what the name is. But from the way this thing attacks, I can definitely say that I would have hated it. Yeah, you can see here that it looks like it has some kind of throw attack. It'll just throw shit at you, you know? The crag man before the inevitable crag spider evolution. So Demon Souls fans will appreciate this. This is the crystal lizard from Demon Souls, like an exact copy of it. I can only assume they used this as a placeholder until they developed the crystal lizard that we know from the game. Still cool to see. I've personally never played Demon Souls, so at first I was like, what is DES lizard? And then I was like, Demon Souls. But this thing is rigged, kind of. Has a couple of silly little animations, but definitely just one of those placeholder type models. I thought I would include this just for the Demon Souls fans, because it is pretty cool to find that they just straight up used the Demon Souls crystal lizard while they developed their own lizard. And plus I really like the scales. And when I look at it, I kind of prefer this version to the version that we have in the game. I think it's a lot cuter too. On to Lost Izalith now, and this is the brain bug. Very, very ugly little thing. It's not animated. There's no animations for it. I'm pressing the buttons, but nothing's happening. But it is fully designed, and it's a very, very safe assumption to say that this is definitely Demon Ruins Lost Izalith enemy. I can only assume that it would have kind of eaten you in one go with this terrifying little mouth that it has. But other than that, there's not really much to it. It's just kind of like a big old bug. But when I look at it, I think I prefer these things over them incredibly annoying centipede type thingies that come out of the walls to just break all of your equipment. But yeah, I couldn't find too much on this thing. Just, it's called brain bug in the files, so safe to say that it would eat you up in one go. What is interesting about this thing is that it's both big and small at the same time. I'm not sure if anybody understands that but me, but it's like a large enemy but also kind of small, you know what I mean? But yeah, not much to say on this one. Sadly, we can't see any animations. Oh my goodness. But yeah, just a little thing. A little ugly bug, I suppose. So this is really cool. This is prototype Kalameet, and you can see immediately the differences. He's a lot thinner. There's no gold color scheme. It's just straight black. Way less detailed, and also more toes. The final version of Kalameet doesn't have this many toes, so Miyazaki's still at it, even on dragons with the feet stuff. But also the eye is a different color, kind of a lot more scarier too. And by the way, fun fact: a lot of people think this is Kalameet's only eye, but Kalameet actually has eyes, and they're just incredibly small, and they're on the side of his head. But yeah, this version of Kalameet, just like normal Kalameet, kind of follows the same animations, pretty much exactly the same. I mean, I couldn't notice any different animations. But yeah, this version of Kalameet is way less detailed and definitely not as impressive. But still very, very cool nonetheless. Kalameet is today one of my favorite dragons. As annoying as that fight is and as terrible as I am at it, I really, really do like Kalameet. He's, you know, he's Kalameet. How can you hate him? But yeah. So if you weren't aware, this is Kalameet's final design. This is what Kalameet ends up looking like in the game. Just so you can see just how vastly different the two of them are. For some reason, this version of Kalameet isn't animated, not sure why, but you can see they really went above and beyond from the prototype. If we go back to the prototype of Kalameet, you can see the very, very the very, very, very major differences. Not sure why this version of Kalameet is animated and the other isn't, but nonetheless, you're not really missing out on much. These are the animations that Kalameet uses in his boss fight. So I guess they only needed to rig one model and just paste a mesh over it, you know what I mean? So I thought this was quite funny. This is the prototype of the Sanctuary Guardian. And oh my god, this thing is fucking hideous. This thing is so ugly. But yeah, nothing hidden here, just a basic prototype that I think is quite funny and very, very different from the magnificence that is the DLC Sanctuary Guardian. So this, I think, is gonna make some people pretty upset. So this is the prototype for Bed of Chaos. And this version of Bed of Chaos is actually mobile. And as you can see, there's no... you don't need to get underneath her to get to the Chaos Bug, right? This version of Bed of Chaos is for, you know, not to be that person, but it's a better version of the boss fight. From what I can kind of make out from the animations, this version of the fight wouldn't have had you going to the 3 bugs. Instead, you would have had to explicitly fought this version of the tree. What is interesting about this version of Bed of Chaos is that it has wings. So perhaps that's a look into a second phase of this fight, possibly, that would make the fight go from kind of stagnant to suddenly this fucking thing is flying throughout the sky, because funnily enough it has 3 pairs of wings, so there's the 2 here, 2 here, and then these 2 way smaller ones up here. Finding this in the model viewer made me a bit sad, because this looks way better than the fight that we have, and this animation here is also very interesting. It looks like some kind of breath attack. Yeah, that's the death animation that has all the sound effects. Overall, this is just kind of, it may be a bit sad to see this in the viewer. This is the version in the game, and it would have had you, obviously you slide down the thing and then you run underneath it, and there's the bugs either side, and then you go through the middle. But it's just kind of the proof of really the corporate people breathing down from software's neck to make the game faster and have it out faster, because this really and truly does look way more engaging, way more fun, you know what I mean? I mean, obviously now you can just finish the fight in no time with a bow and 2 firebombs, but I keep repeating myself, but there is something quite depressing to see this in the model viewer and understand that clearly Bed of Chaos was intended to be more interactive than it is, shall we say. Because Bed of Chaos has such a terrible reputation because people are just not good at running around the arena. But I want to add this in as like a, look, blame the corporates breathing down from software's neck, don't blame From Software. Because clearly, this fight is clearly fully done. Like, the model viewer will only show you certain animations, but you can kind of tell this fight must have been fully fledged out. As much as I shit on the fight, I am a Bed of Chaos defender, and this is me defending Bed of Chaos. So, this is the thing that kind of blew my mind. When I opened up this file, I was like, who in the goddamn fresh hell is this? And this is Undead King Jar Eel. Most likely would have been found at New Londo Ruins. If I reset him here, this guy has some crazy animations. So what I found really interesting about this guy is that he's using this sword, but this hand seems to be the main focus. So this would have had the dark hand in it. So this is how you kind of know he's a dark wraith. He's pretty loud, but he would have been wielding the dark hand in this hand, and then he has this sword, and throughout the fight he would have predominantly used the dark hand, and that would have been the main threat, is to stay away from the dark hand. This guy, Undead King Jar Eel, would have been the prerequisite of the player getting the key to the seal. So to get the key to the seal, you just need to go to Ingwood, and he'll tell you, oh, do this and the other, and then you get this key. But originally, you would have had to have first killed this guy to get the key. Otherwise, Ingwood wouldn't give it to you. I believe there is cut dialogue from Ingwood that he mentions some, you know, obviously very vaguely about this guy. But yeah, there's the dark hand grab attack where they suck the humanity out of you. Super cool. There's another really cool attack there, kind of an AoE. A grab attack there. Again, this guy is like fully, he has like sound effects and everything. But you can see what I mean by the fact that he has this sword, but it's obviously not the main thing to be scared of in this fight. It's that dark hand that he's got. Yeah, he doesn't really use the sword much. But this guy blew my mind, finding this like random dude in the model view. I was like, who is this? His armor, I'll actually show a bit more on him later. But I did find funny is that What is going on? Like, this guy is slimy. This guy, he's shiny. He's got a great skincare routine. And also what's really interesting is that he's not hollow. And that's most likely because he's a dark wraith and the supposed king of the dark wraith. So of course he wouldn't be hollow. So I also think that's just a really, really cool detail that, you know, you probably wouldn't think about in your playthrough if this guy was in the game. Probably wouldn't click in your head that the king of the dark wraiths absolutely wouldn't be hollow, because, you know, he's a dark wraith and their whole thing is to steal humanity from people, you know what I mean? I wanted to show this for the crown specifically, just so you guys get the idea that why he's called King Jaw Eel. This is a very, very spiky looking crown. Not sure why he has the name Jaw Eel, but New Londo Ruins is wet, damp, and sticky, so it wouldn't surprise me to find out that there were eels living down there. So this is part of the infamously cut bear armor set. I'll put a picture of it up, which never ended up in remastered, but it did make its way into Elden Ring, the Shadow of the Erdtree DLC. So very, very cool indeed. So this is the lower half of the bear set. I might be possibly wrong, but I racked my brains to the best of my ability, and I can't recall seeing this in the base game or the DLC. But as I understand it, this is the bear waistcloth, and again, you can see how they evolved this set to Elden Ring, Shadow of the Erdtree. So this is one of the more well-known pieces of cut content. This is the Four Kings' sword that the player assumedly would have been able to attain through the boss soul. Yeah, again, this is pretty well known that the player could obtain this sword, but then for whatever reason they cut it out of the game. So this is probably one of the coolest cut weapons. It looks very similar to the catch pole that the Titanite demons drop, but it has this like feline look to it. I mean, it is still a catch pole, a spiky little catch pole, but perhaps this could have possibly been the rarest weapon drop in the game, because the catch pole itself has a really, really, really low drop rate. But this thing looks really cool, and I like that it looks like a cat or a bunny or something similar. I like its animal appearance. Maybe they just weren't happy with the design, but I actually really like this design. I kind of prefer it over the catch pole that's in the game right now. And if anybody is intelligent enough to mod it into the game, send that mod my way, because this thing looks so cool and kind of cute. You have to admit, does look a bit cute. Very cute appearance. So this little obscure looking thing is a talisman. It's a cut talisman from the game. I believe that this is probably most likely titanite. Possibly would have been used to cast pyromancies, and the reason I say this is because I don't take it with a grain of salt, but I do believe pyromancy was originally intended to be an offshoot of miracles. It was because similar to how hexes are an offshoot of sorcery, again, grain of salt, please, very much a grain of salt, but pyromancy was meant to be an offshoot of miracles, and as such, it could be casted with a talisman, but, you know, the right kind of talisman. And possibly that is what this was, and that's why in the final game, the only thing you need to level up your flame is souls, because it was quickly changed, you know what I mean? But again, I feel like I need to overly stress it, grain of salt, just because I don't want my words to be taken as Bible. So this is one of the last things I wanted to show you. This is the golden golem that spawns after killing the Hydra. Unfortunately, when it comes to these object files here, sadly the mesh on them, a whole bunch of them just isn't loaded, so you just end up getting a blank model. But we can obviously tell that is Dusk up there in the crystal. So I just wanted to show that, because a lot of people think, because obviously Dusk is trapped inside the golem, but you might think that, oh, she's like literally inside this like core of the golem, but she's actually, the poor girl has been mummified in this giant crystal atop the golem's head, which I just thought was pretty funny, because I mean I always had at least assumed that she was like here somewhere in the heart of the golem, but again, I think I'm the only one that thought that, but still a funny little detail. But yeah, that was like all I wanted to show really. That I just, you know, I downloaded the debugger, messed around in the model viewer, and ended up finding some cool things. Some of them I knew about, some of them I didn't. So yeah, I just wanted to make like a little silly video showcasing the cool things that I found, on the off chance nobody else knows about it. Or I mean, again, you probably do, because this stuff has been around for a decade or more at this point. But yeah, completely impromptu video, and sorry if I ramble a lot, because I do that. That's why I write scripts, so I can just contain words. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed, and praise the sun and all that jazz.
Now go. Don't you dare let yourself go hollow, lest my time spent on you be wasted.